Welcome to another SOP video for managed service providers. Today I want to talk about IP address allocation. What does that mean? Well, IP address allocation has to do with how you determine which addresses you want to allocate to the various components of your client's network. For the most part, you're going to have two big categories. The first category is completely static IPs. And some people would argue you never have to do this, but I can tell you there's some things that just make your life a little bit easier if you have static IPs and they never change. I love to have servers on a static IP. This goes back to the days when we used to map drives to the internet and servers would actually be sitting out there on the internet. We do a lot less of that than we used to, but it still helps considerably if you know what address you're going to in order to get certain things done. Many of you know this is a common thing with databases. Some of them are not very good with universal names, and so an IP address makes it a lot easier for them. Some configuration files want a hard-coded IP just because it's old and that's the way they work. There's lots of little reasons why it's good. Remember also that one of the components of DHCP is that when a lease is half over, it gets renewed. And so it tries to, by default, give things the address that they had before. So on one hand, we have things like servers and printers that it's probably a good idea to have them have static IPs. It makes it easier to document because you know exactly where they are. It makes it easier to remote into certain things. And there are certain monitoring protocols that rely on IP. So if that's the case, then you might need to do that as well. The second group that we look at is desktops and laptops. And to be honest, visitors who come and sign into your external wireless access point. All those people do not need a permanent IP address. If your laptop connects, gets to the server, it can print, it can get to email, you're good, right? You're golden. So depending on the size of the office, you may have an entire address space dedicated specifically to desktops and laptops. And this really is the preferred method. I know there are some people who still put static IPs on desktops and laptops, but the problem with that is the same it's always been, that somebody can come in and just allocate an IP address and knock something else off the network. You really, really don't want that to happen. And I know that doesn't happen very often, but the problem is it happens with people who have just enough knowledge to be dangerous. And they tend not to tell you what they were up to. Way back in the mid-90s, I was the site manager for PC software support at HP's Roseville plant. And they had about 7,000 machines, desktops and laptops, in the buildings that I managed. And we had static IP addresses. And so the problem is people had to go through paperwork to get an IP address. And of course, what they did is they would ping an IP address, and if they didn't get a response, they would set their laptop to that address, which was great until somebody else turned on their laptop, somebody else turned on their desktop, somebody fired up a printer, and now suddenly you have a clash on the network. Again, remember, there are rules within DNS and DHCP for how these things are managed. You may have a clash that results in two machines being down. You may have one machine win and one machine lose. So you need to kind of have some idea what's going on there. You could make all those problems go away by having DHCP set up on a scope specifically for desktops and laptops. You will probably still want servers and printers and so forth to have static IPs. Again, for me, it's network equipment. So routers, firewalls, switches, especially smart switches, I want static IPs. Servers, I want static IPs. Printers, I want static IPs. If you have some other important network device like a time card, I think static IPs are good for that. So have a category of static IPs allocate them, document them in your system, and then have a scope set up for desktops and laptops. That's my advice. Whatever you do, make sure you document it. For Small Biz Thoughts, this is Carl Polachuk, wishing you the best of luck in your managed service business. Here's your checklist for this video. Like it, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post new videos, share it on your favorite social media, and if you haven't checked out SOP for SMB.com, go visit our website.